Welcome to the Digital Dreaming Off the Ground podcast. All my fellow Muslims out there celebrating like myself, Eid Mubarak. We are now in the almost last day of the month of March, but let's get right into it, folks. Ramadan is now finished, but we're going to talk about Smackdown to start this episode, and also obviously the latest and greatest, kind of controversial but also hot topic on one of our, esteemed multiple time, I guess multiple appearance guests, one who we both mutually interviewed and one of our mutual friends, Just Incredible. Let's start off with SmackDown. Cortez, starting off, obviously, out the gate, Randy, Cody, you had the segment, Drew came in.
Yeah.
What was your take on that?
Um, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I feel
Yeah.
like the Randy Cody segment was filler.
Yeah. Hmm.
And yes, Randy is interested in going for another title, and I think that he should be
Hmm.
with the way that his the way that the fans are treating Randy right now. I think
Think you froze.
he's become one of those old grizzled veterans that you enjoy, and you kind of want to see him do his stuff.
Yeah. 100%. No,
Um,
I think to that point, it was filler, but I also think it actually was setting the stage because Cena's, if you saw Cena's confirmed booking schedule from Juan, it basically said that he is only scheduled to make next appearance and a few others, and then after that, I think in the month of April and the month of May, he's scheduled to appear regularly on every single SmackDown show. So
yeah, his schedule does have him at WWE.
yeah, so his schedule basically what that tells me, Cena's probably going to go over at WrestleMania, and he's going to show up more regularly after
Well,
WrestleMania.
I'm definitely gonna get to that point because there's
Yeah,
a couple things there that I think that you might be interested in.
yeah, absolutely. Because what the reason, and it's kind of what back to my original point, what I think they're trying to set the stage for is after Cena goes over on Cody, obviously Cody will still kind of come back and fight, or Cody will take a break, and essentially then it's going to set up Cena's last ride somehow, some way. He's going to have to the guy who basically retires Cena on his last ride will be the Legend Killer Randy Orton. So
Yeah, I mean unfortunately for Triple H, like he's deciding to break that glass ceiling that's Ric Flair,
yeah,
and Ric Flair's playing into it, which is great. You know, I'm glad that and that it's the Nature Boy, and I'm glad that like these are his friends.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? And his kind of like his nephews. To be honest.
hmm
Like all these guys are kind of like Flair's nephews, including Cena. I think Cena's
hmm
earned that status, even if he isn't the a as Drew McIntyre called a nepo baby.
yeah. Perfect promo, by the way.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre's promo, that was the best Drew McIntyre promo I've heard in a really long time.
Yeah.
And you know that I'm not a big Drew McIntyre fan.
Hmm.
Um, I like his work, but I'm not a fan, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of wrestlers, like, for example, I like Pretty Deadly's work. I'm not a fan. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I like their work. I'm not a fan. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's people don't understand the business that well how do you what do you mean you like them but you're not a fan. Just understand that this is wrestling. It's not the same as football. It's wrestling.
Right. Right.
So I liked what he did. I liked the way that he set up a boring Damian Priest feud. I like the way Damian Priest is leaning into a little bit of his Undertaker blessing,
Hmm.
um, because he needed that bad.
Yeah.
And
He did.
people, Edge couldn't give him what he needed because he's Edge, and
Yeah.
AEW is showing us why Edge couldn't give him what he needed.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I don't like Edge or anything's bad about Edge. I'm not saying that at all, guys. I'm just saying that Edge kind of doesn't have any direction, and he hasn't since his Rumble return. The creation of the Judgment Day was that 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
Like
For 3 years, but yeah.
the creation of the Judgment Day was great, and it just didn't go anywhere. And then like when Finn took over, it kind of did, but even that's floundering right now. We'll
Yeah. It's
talk
coming to
about
an
that
end.
at a later date.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think I lost you. But yeah, pretty much, I think kind of to what Cortez was saying was that essentially kind of what we're seeing right now with, with Damian Priest and also with Drew McIntyre. You still there?
All right.
All right, we are
So
back. Go ahead.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
So I like how they set up Damian Priest's legacy with The Undertaker now, and we're starting to give him a little bit more substance of his character.
Yep.
Um, I can see a lot of good stuff happening for Damian Priest if he will lean into that Undertaker blessing.
Hmm.
As you see, he's starting to hit a lot more of the Undertaker's spots, and then when he slammed Drew on the car, he told him to rest in peace, which is awesome.
Yeah.
The choke slam on the car was great because that's something that the Undertaker would have loved to have done.
Yeah.
And it was good. He called him a Team Undertaker, which I thought was great. That was like I said, one of the best Drew promos I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Absolutely. And kind of to the point, right? Even though that I agree with you that the segment was filler, it was setting the stage and it also kind of helped build up the Drew McIntyre as a potential contender at some point. That doesn't mean it's going to be this year. That doesn't mean it's going to be, obviously at the end of the year, but maybe sometime next year, maybe sometime. So, I mean, we'll see. I think it was good from that perspective because it helped Drew.
There was only a few notable things on SmackDown that have WrestleMania implications, and I think
Hmm.
because of the shortened show, I'm only gonna hit those points today.
Yeah.
Um, so the next point that I'll bring up is this goes right into it.
Yeah.
Was was there's gonna be at least a three tag team, if not four tag team, multi-man match for the SmackDown championships. That much is awesome. Is obvious.
Hmm.
I think we don't see the women's United States title on WrestleMania. I don't think we see that. I think that here's the big fish. Well, two big fishes because to us it's huge. Um, I'm seeing a multi-man match for the men's United States title,
Yeah.
and I got a feeling it's gonna have probably a fatal four way. To be honest, I thought a triple threat at first, but it's looking like a fatal four way right now.
Yeah.
And I don't have the all four guys exactly nailed, but uh it'll be a combination of LA Knight, um, Jacob Fatu, Braun Strowman, and possibly or probably Jimmy Fatu / Uso.
Yeah. It will be all four of them. That's
Yeah,
that's that's my agreement.
yeah, Big Jim. I think Big Jim's going to be in that one. And if we're being honest, he probably has the best shot to walk away with it.
Yeah.
If he somehow manages to beat Gunther, or if he manages to even look like he's going to beat Gunther, and even if it's a DQ, he'll walk away with that title. The only way that he won't walk away with the U.S. title is if Gunther squashes him on Monday night. So if Gunther smashes Jimmy Uso Monday, then he's not going to walk away. So that's how I love wrestling, because most of it's kind of predictable. They throw some twists and turns at you, but if he squashes Jimmy, Jimmy won't walk away with the title. But I don't see him squashing Jimmy on Monday. I don't see that happening. I don't see Jimmy winning, but I don't see it being a squash match.
100%. No, I agree with you on that. Yeah, I think kind of to that point. I mean, and actually, like you said, since we do have short time, I agree with your take. Jimmy could definitely win the title, but I want to just kind of touch upon just two things which were really notable for me from the SmackDown. One, obviously, being the spot of Damian Priest chokeslamming Drew through real glass, and apparently, the real glass went into Drew's eye, apparently, which he claimed on X, and Damian Priest looked a little concerned. After that, so it was kind of interesting. And secondly, the most important thing was the main event, which was the contract signing between CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, and obviously CM Punk getting notified that he's now going to main event WrestleMania. That is now probably most likely main event night one. So Jay versus Gunther is now going to be probably the second card to close out the show before the main event of night one. What is your take on both that, and what is your expectation? Do you think it either devalues the World Heavyweight title match, or does it help elevate to a certain degree?
If you put the World Heavyweight title match on the match before the closing match,
Hmm.
it definitely elevates it.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. The secondary title has not been,
Hmm.
except for Roman Reigns. The secondary title is usually opening the show. For many years, the Universal title opened the show.
Right.
That was the first match on the card. I believe one of the times Seth Rollins won it was the first match, right?
Yeah.
And I think the other time he won it was the cash in on the last match.
Greatest cash in history.
There's no better cash in than that.
Yeah.
That one was perfectly set up.
Yeah.
So and that's not the only time either. We can go back to the 90s, to the 2000s. The secondary belt usually opens the card.
Yeah.
We all know that it's the secondary belt. That's not a dig at anything. We know that because they made the belt because Roman had them both for 4 years.
Right.
Give or take a little bit for the world title. You know what I'm saying? Because he picked that one up a little bit later. But
Yeah.
he had the top brand championship for 4 years plus. You know what I mean? Continuously over 1,000 days. And what was the final total?
Oh, 1,440 something
Yeah,
crazy.
we're talking about close to 5 years with that title, man.
Yeah, a long time. So I mean, obviously Roman, kudos to him for, being able to hold that belt with such prestige. And now Cody obviously doing the same thing. Now he's going to surpass Cena, for having the belt, I think for 380 or CM Punk, I forgot who it is. Because Cody, I think is 300,
CM Punk.
yeah, 380 days, right? Will surpass CM Punk's reign
Yeah, because I
as
think
WWE
CM Punk was
champion.
379, right?
379, yeah, whatever it was. So
Something like that. So,
yeah, something, yeah.
but here's the other thing about this: that favor that Paul Heyman owed CM Punk wasn't cashed in, and there might be some play in the main event of night two. If CM Punk managed to beat Roman and Seth, he might insert himself into that world title picture. And I'm gonna say it here. I'll be the first one to say it. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if Cena didn't win at WrestleMania and CM Punk won. That would create one hell of a storyline. Also give Cody a break, even if it's only for a couple of weeks.
I think you and I both aligned with one kind of outcome from both the main event from night one as well as kind of a main event from night two. Cody's not winning, first and foremost. Cody's not walking out as champion.
He
Either way.
can't.
He can't. He
The,
has,
the odds are stacked against him.
yeah,
I'll put it this way: everyone loves Cody. Cody's been doing a great job as
yeah.
champion. Cody's story needs to have adversity in it, and up until now, like all of the adversity just didn't seem like it was as big. But right now, getting into WrestleMania season and getting ready for Backlash and then SummerSlam and Riyadh season, we're gonna need we're gonna need to switch up the story a little bit, and in order to keep the product fresh. And Cody trying to come back for that belt and facing some adversity with it, having to deal with Seth, having to deal with Roman, having to deal with Punk, having to deal with McIntyre, having to deal with Priest, having to deal with Gunther, having to deal with all of the Usos and the Fatu family and all of the NOI family, and then you throw in the wild card who loses at WrestleMania, LA Knight, because he's going for a top championship after this. There's no way, there's
Thank
no
you.
doubt about it.
Thank
You
you.
throw in LA
Yes.
Knight.
Yes.
We're not even going to talk about Gable because we don't have enough time because
Yeah.
that's over. I'm convinced that Gable's push is over.
It's over.
Um,
It's
yeah,
beyond over.
it's over. He's doing Curtis Gable's greatest hits and not as good as Kurt,
Yeah.
which I still like it, but he's not. It's not as good as Kurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that a Cena or Punk run with that title would do wonders for the company in a way that we haven't seen before. Because normally when you get a run from a legend, it's usually a nostalgic bye-bye tour. This is not what's happening right now. These guys want to be legitimate champions. And they want to fight every week. They want to show up every week. They want to appear on and I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it. People don't understand the movies. The movies are great. But as what we saw in Snow White, big budget movies are not hitting like they used to. And you know what is hitting? WWE. It hits
Yeah.
every week. If you want to
Yeah.
make your money, you want to be on TV, you want to be a household name, you're on WWE. That's just what it is. Even other athletes from other sports are making sure they show up on WWE. They've got NHL's and boxing's announcer now. He did jag on. He called Jimmy J on Jimmy's entrance on SmackDown. But he did fix it at the end when Jimmy won the match and said it at the end of the match, Jimmy Uso, which That was his first night. They threw him out there. I'm pretty sure he didn't get any practice runs. That was his first night, guys. Cut him a break. I'm sure Jimmy didn't care, especially because the crowd yeeted on his way out.
You
And that was the match before. That was and we're cooking, guys. We're cooking. That was the match before the main event, and Jimmy brought it. Which I hate to say it, Jimmy, but you're kind of a test monkey for things that they want to do with Jay but can't right now. They're
Yeah.
going to test him with Jimmy, and I think Jimmy's assaulting his role in WWE and cementing his role too. And Jimmy's much better than Jay on the mic, guys. Whether y'all like it or not, Jimmy's much better than Jay on the mic, and he always has been. If you guys go back and watch from the beginning when they came in to now, he's always been better than Jay on the mic. I think that they both struggle a little bit without them being able to play off each other because when they're together, their promos are the freaking best.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially when they have heel promos together. But I like what's going on right now. I like what's happening. I like how WWE's not trying to make anyone look bigger or smaller. They're making it look like a legitimate competition, and that's what
Yeah.
AEW failed at. They're making it look like a legitimate. We know it's scripted, we know it's predetermined, but they're making every match look well, almost every match. They're making every match look like a legitimate competition that you just don't know who's going to win, and that's why I'm enjoying it because I'm watching it and I say to myself, I know who should win this match, but I don't know who's going to win this match. Um, which brings me right back again to the main event. I feel like CM Punk wins night one. I don't see how anything else could happen. Roman's extreme arrogance has always been his downfall,
Yeah.
and we saw some extreme arrogance from Roman. And the only time we ever see that is when something bad's about to happen to him.
Exactly.
He doesn't have his bloodline backing him up. They're busy.
Yeah. The
You know,
bloodline's
all of
gone.
them.
It's just
All of
him.
them are busy. You know,
Yeah.
all of them are busy. They're
Solo is now going to be warring with Jacob because now Jacob's going after the U.S. title, and Jacob's feeling that he's better than Solo and Tama, and obviously you got Jimmy going for the Jimmy's also in that mix for the U.S. title, right? He's probably going to be in that match at WrestleMania. Then we also have Jay, obviously the main event, or second main event, of night one. So, or the first of two main events, right, against Gunther, and he's probably going
yes.
to go over. So, I mean, there's too many. The top two members of the Bloodline are going to win, are going to have be title holders by after WrestleMania is over. So, yeah, Roman really
Yeah.
is basically on an island right now. I mean, they call it the
Yeah.
island
I
of
feel like both Usos walk away with titles.
that's my opinion. That's what I project
Yeah,
too.
I
So,
don't think that I don't think anything else should happen. I think both Usos. So the way that the fact that he was a surprise tag team with him on Monday night kind of cemented my thoughts. The fact that they put him up against the world champion and because they don't have to do that, they put
yeah,
him up against the world champion. And it doesn't make Jay look weaker,
it doesn't. Yeah.
which it doesn't make Jay look weaker, especially because this is kind of how their model is. Like they've always it reminds me of a couple years back when Jay was fighting when Jay was fighting a Roman and Jimmy came to save him.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, like, because they're twins, so you have to put them, together, like exactly the Hardy Boys. When Jeff Hardy was champion, Matt wasn't really involved, so much, so to speak, but he was still there. So I mean, that's
Matt was
kind
the
of
ECW champion when Jeff was champion.
yeah, exactly. So Matt was ECW champion, Jeff was WWE champion or World Heavyweight. Yeah, WWE and World Heavyweight both. Jeff had
Yeah,
both.
he was the undisputed champion.
He was undisputed, basically. Yeah. So basically, Jeff Hardy with Matt Hardy. So it's like Jay and Jimmy. Jay is going to be the world champion. Jimmy will be the U.S. champion. It's good for business. I mean, they deserve it. So
Yeah, and if you can make Jimmy a main event superstar, your business will succeed for far longer. See, the thing about WWE that people understand is they're in it to make stars. And I think that might be a perfect segue to us talking about our boy.
all righty. Yes, sir. Thank
Hold
you all
on
for
one
tuning
second.
into
I'm
that
gonna grab
episode.
this. You can
Yes, sir.
open.
Good. Let's go. Yeah. So, I mean, basically now we're going to segue over to Justin, our two-time guest of the show, one of the greatest hardcore wrestlers in the history of hardcore wrestling, just incredible. Obviously there was a new episode of Maven, Maven Huffman's, YouTube and his podcast where he basically, spoke about some, pretty jarring allegations of just incredible, quote unquote, scamming promoters and fans, so to speak. And so essentially, we just want to touch upon that because, obviously, we want to kind of touch upon what those allegations were, as well as kind of our own personal experience, my own personal experience working with Justin. So I'm going to ask you to start from my personal experience, and then Cortez, you can talk about Maven, all right? because my own personal experience, when I first reached out to Justin over 3 years ago to get him on the show, Justin was very, very professional. Actually, my first question was, and this is what you'll kind of touch upon because you probably remember more of the Maven podcast than I do. First question for Justin that I asked him on X was, "Can I have an autograph?" And
Yeah.
Just said to me, he's all like, "Nope, sorry, buddy." He's like, he's like, "Nope." He's like, and then he told me, he said that, he's like, and then he clarified. He said it's not that I don't want to sign it for you. It's just that it's too much effort because I was signing 13,000 autographs, throughout a given month or year, and then sending it out. And then he sent me a post of a fan complaining about him. And then Justin had to reply to that fan and basically say like his wife was sick in the hospital and that's why he couldn't honor that. And then I said, "What about podcasts?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "If you want me," he's like, "Let me know." He's like, "We'll do it." And then so I have an invite. We handled business, and then the second one, my boy was on. You were on for that, right, Cortez? So
Yes,
Justin
sir.
came back on, and obviously after the, you guys can watch it. Justin even said at the end, he's like, "Shout out to your boy, yours truly, for helping me get out of a jam, let me back on." And I mean, I don't want to take credit for that, because Justin's greatness as a wrestler and me being a fan of his for so long doesn't detract from the fact that, he, needed a favor. I think it was great for me to have him on this platform. Like I've had Ken Shamrock multiple times. Like we've had, Rodney Mack, like we had so many other wrestlers, figures in the industry. It's helped me build those relationships, and those relationships are critical, in this business, right? Cortez, I want
Um,
to now turn over to you. Talk to me
I
about
would
a little
say,
bit of the highlights from Maven's podcast, and kind of we can then react to each one of them.
well, so I watched the I got through most of it.
Hmm.
And there's no disclaimer here. PJ Polanco, Just Incredible, is a friend of the show,
Yes,
and I think we did what, an hour and a half episode.
we did 2 hours almost.
Yeah,
It was a long episode.
we hung out with him for about 4 hours. To everyone
Yeah.
that doesn't know, we hung out with him for about 4 hours. We did a lot of off camera, off record stuff, and and he was. Here's the one thing about him that I did not see was represented enough in Maven's interview. He is a very honest dude,
Yeah.
and he'll give it to you straight if you ask it to him straight. Um, I will ask everyone, before you start judging people, take a look at your own life and then ask yourself, what would you do if you were in the same situation? I'm not saying that everything that he's done is right. I'm just saying that he didn't do us wrong. He didn't defraud us. He didn't fail to deliver. He was on time. He was in the right place. He was in the right mindset. He was sober. And we didn't have any of the issues that people are saying that they have issues with. What I am going to say is everything that I saw him admit to was the same thing that he told us. It's hard to do that many autographs if you don't have any money, number one. Number two, everyone expects for you to pay for shipping, which is almost impossible if you're walking around on a necrotic leg. And number three, some of the people who have talked about him are not very good people, guys. And especially a lot of those indie promoters, they're not good people. They are not. And I'm not saying any specific names. I'm just saying that they're not good people. And I feel like you had it coming. And I was gonna be honest, if you're that crap of a person where like you guys are trying to, you know, beat the man down for saying that he was ring ready. You don't know if he's ring ready or not. We don't know what these stars face. We watched Shawn Michaels wrestle for 6 months with a broken back. We watched Kurt Angle wrestle with broken necks 3 times.
Which caused significant downstream impacts to his health today. His muscles have
He
atrophied. You know,
he can't feel his fingertips.
yeah. So
Kurt Angle can't feel his fingertips. So I watched a Van Fleet podcast with
the
Kurt
same
Angle,
one. Yep.
and Kurt Angle was talking about, they're like, "Man, you look great." He goes, "We want to see you in the ring again." Kurt Angle said, "If I get back in the ring, I might never walk again."
Yeah.
He said that's how bad his body is. If he ever gets back in the ring again, he may never walk again. So now Kurt Angle is successful and has been successful since the beginning, mostly because Kurt Angle was a primetime WWE project. He rejected ECW. I'm not saying that Justin Credible should have rejected ECW because he made the name Justin Credible in ECW and then brought it over. And I think that a lot of booking has a lot to do with that. But he was an incredible talent. He had an incredible move set, and he could and he was very. That's why his name was Justin Credible, because he could do crazy things in the ring that other people just weren't or could not do. We see a lot of his moves being given to other characters today. 30 years, 35 years down the line, people are getting lots of his moves because they were innovative. If you go watch the Spot Monkey show, then you see a lot of his moves being put into use today. And to mind you, this was 30, 35 years ago. So I want to continue with saying this. I think that Maven did a journalistic wonder by being able to get this interview, and I think that he did. I guarantee you that Justin was paid for it. I hope he was. I
He always
guarantee you
gets
it was not
paid.
a. I guarantee you it was not a free interview, and I have no problem with that at all.
The man needs to get his money. Man's got to eat.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to. He's got to eat. He's
Yeah.
got kids. He's got child support. He has to pay bills. Like, and he doesn't have health insurance right now. I'm more worried about his health than I am any of this merchandise that you guys think you're entitled to.
Yep.
So everybody complaining about not getting broken signed kendo sticks can eat one, can eat a fat one. The dude needs health insurance. He needs help. He can't apply
Yep.
for the government. He can't because it'll mess up whatever his kids got going on. And I'm not down with people bashing somebody because they're down. If he's down, help him. If you're gonna talk bad about him, help him. Because in his situation, a little bit of help could go a long way. Yeah, we might not know him like some of the guys that have been in the industry with him forever. We might not have been a part of the clique. We might not have been a part of any of those people, but we know that they know who he is. We know that they're cool with him, and we know that people can help him.
And
Maybe
I
he's too proud to take it, but I don't know. I think that he deserves their help.
I want to talk about, because when you touched on that point about people who knew him, right? And then Maven ended his episode with saying that the Just Credible I knew is not the same as the one today who's ripping off promoters and doing this, and it sounds like it's going to come back to haunt him. But we know him as of recently. The one that he's referring to is the one that we know. That's the one who we had on our show.
Yeah,
So,
we don't know
mean,
ECW Justin Credible. We don't know WWE
we
Justin
don't know him.
Credible. We
Yeah.
know we know PJ sitting there, talking to us about his life.
You remember when you told him to do the Macho Man impression? He did the fucking Macho Man impression. I
The
mean,
dude
off
was
the cuff.
awesome. He was awesome.
Yeah.
He Go watch the show, guys. Everyone, if you guys are here from Maven's podcast, go watch the show. Tell us what you think, and tell us that this is a guy that's a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Tell me that. Tell me that. Go watch the show. He indulged.
Watch the short. The short
Yeah.
on the channel.
He indulged us being fans. He indulged us being professionals, and he indulged us knowing that, one, we know what we're talking about. We are more than just fans of the product. We are connoisseurs. And then he also engaged us as a human being, and I think that was the most important part. He engages as a human being. So if he needs help, help him. He was one of, and I don't care what WWE booking says about this. He was one of the greatest, and he isn't being treated like it. He needs to be treated like it. He's not being treated like it, and it's caused a lot of problems in his personal life, in his professional life, and he needs help. He needs his medical bills taken care of. And there's plenty of people. If I had the money to take care of it, I would send the man money right now. That's how much I believe in what he did with us. If I had the money, I would send it to him right now and be like, "Hey, man, just go see a doctor." And I think that once he can get that cleared up, other things in his life will start to come together. I'm not going to kick a man when he's down. I don't think Maven kicked him. I think Maven just got an honest story. But at the same time, I'm not sure I would have released the story, especially if we're friends, because you saw at the beginning of his episode that they talked privately about it, and he let him know, like, "Hey, I'm not trying to blindside you, but there's a lot of heavy stuff here."
Yeah.
And I think that Justin Credible took it on the chin and kept it moving. He didn't take offense to it.
He did.
Well, except for Stevie Richards, but Stevie Richards pisses off everybody. So.
Steven Richards is one of the best content creators on YouTube right now from the wrestling community. He's basically like, I don't know why he's not a producer right now for WWE, because he's so he's so unfiltered with all of his takes and everything, and sometimes it's right, sometimes it's dead wrong. But I mean, of course, like that's the problem with the wrestling community is that lots of overinflated egos because these are superstars. So a superstar ego versus another superstar ego, you're not going to be able to jive all the time. There's going to be a butting of heads because these are supremely gifted and talented performers. So back to the point, and I think we can close out with this. Um, to what you just said, anyone who's watching this, anyone who watched Maven, I'm a fan of Maven's show. I'm not going to take anything away from him.
Me
He's
too. I
given
like Maven.
he's given us so much behind the scenes looks into the industry that I actually didn't know before he actually started his YouTube channel a few years ago. So I mean, and he's one of the best content creators on YouTube, right? So I'm not going to say that, but to the point, if you all can see that man right there, I did actually end up getting his autograph. So even though he declined to do it originally, he did send me that. So for anyone who's questioning of whether or not he has integrity, his honesty, his legitimacy, as how he pertains to how he treats fans, I don't know, I can't speak to how he treats promoters, but kind of to your point, how you
Well,
opened up this segment, Cortez,
yeah. Go
some of
look at
those
the people.
people. Go ahead.
Go look at the message boards that they pulled up.
Yeah,
Some of those people are pieces of crap.
exactly. I mean, proof in the pudding. Even if you don't watch wrestling, if anyone has watched the show Heels on Netflix, I mean, you can see, what it's like to be a promoter, how you have to cut corners to retain talent, how you have to basically fudge stories. Scott Hall had to
Dude,
deal with the same thing. If you remember Scott
they were
Hall,
getting injured.
yeah,
Wrestlers, especially big name stars who weren't on the current program, because the way that Vince ran things were, you're a star, but you're not on this program, which means we don't see you.
yeah,
It ain't like today's WWE where everybody just gets something to do. No, you will not understand that there are guys who are in the building, and we're in the building for 3 years that never showed on television, but were under contract and were in the building for 3 years. They were
and they
there
get
at
cut.
every show.
And they get
They just
cut without
they
without
didn't.
being on TV. So I mean,
Yeah.
again, to the point, to what you just said, and to kind of the point, Scott Hall is a perfect example because let's focus on indies. Scott Hall, I remember the 30 for 30 that came out from about 15 years ago when he was trying to come to the show, and then basically the promoters are saying, yeah, he was drunk. That's why we didn't pay him. That's why this. And then basically Sean Waltman, X-Pac basically said like, the fact that X-Pac was very emotional about that, about the promoter making that claim. He's like, the fact that they claimed Scott was unprofessional, or Scott showed up drunk, or Scott was, obviously Scott obviously did have an alcohol problem, right? But but if Sean Waltman was defending his friend, if anything Sean Waltman said was true, you know, then basically the promoter was basically lying
I'm going to tell you
on
this,
on
and
camera. So
I'm going to be the only person in the industry that says this. The people that I can believe Angle, I can believe Cena, I can believe The Rock, I can believe all of the clique. Here's why. Any of them, and there was more than just the on-screen clique, guys, but including Taker. You know what I'm saying? It Foley, you can believe these guys because they have absolutely nothing to lie about and nothing to lose. So there's no reason for them to lie to me or you or any other caster or for any reason because they have nothing to lose. They are cemented. First of all, everyone we just named, Hall of Famers. They're cemented in the Hall of Fame. They have nothing to lose, especially Michaels, especially Triple H, especially The Undertaker, especially Kurt Angle, especially Mick Foley. They have nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. They have lifetime legend contracts. Even Billy Gunn, nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. If he lost his AEW contract tomorrow, we'd see Billy Gunn in WWE next week. That's just how it goes, guys. And so when Justin was telling us all this stuff, and it's backed up, and he didn't know this. He didn't know this. But I did a whole lot of research on some of the stuff that was going on at that time that he was around that led to me asking him certain questions that I didn't get answers for and that actually made sense when he gave the story of how it actually went. And it's been corroborated with other sources. It's been corroborated, I was off camera, and he didn't lie to us. He told us straight up. So I'm gonna go and say the guy might need a little bit of help. He's a good guy. Don't believe these message boards of people talking crazy about him. So you didn't get your
Pros,
kendo
but
stick.
yeah, 100%. No, I'm gonna
Yeah.
close out this because we're right at time. I actually just shot an email to our friend. I want to see if we can get him back on and we can talk to him, face to face about some of this stuff. But with that said, I'm gonna end it. If we don't, that's fine too. But with that said, everything you said, Cortez, everything I said, our interactions with him, this platform, this podcast, Just Incredible has our 100% undivided support,
Yes, he
whatever he's
does.
going through. I
Yes, he
can only
does.
speak, Maven had the same type of, thing for Vince. Vince did some nefarious things, but Maven said, I can only speak to what I know. And Maven said, Vince to me was like a father. He was a professional. He helped me grow. I'm only going to speak to what I know. Just Incredible as a performer, to me as a fan, as a platform podcast, owner, to my co-host as well as, also being a co-host of this podcast, our show. Just Incredible has been nothing but a consummate professional. So
He's been awesome to us, and
yeah, I mean,
he hasn't missed any bookings with us. He hasn't failed to answer any of our questions or send messages back or nothing. He's been great. He even, like I say, interviews. I mean, the writing is on the wall, literally. The writing's literally on the wall, and I wish him all the best. I hope we get to talk to him again soon, like on camera.
yeah,
And I hope that people see this interview that he did with Maven, and I hope they help him. Don't throw the stick at him. We don't want to see another dead wrestler because he couldn't get the health care that he needed. I'm sorry they didn't get paid what they deserved to get paid back then. They paved the road for these guys to be making millions in guaranteed contracts today. He didn't get that same type of treatment, and he deserved it. So, and that's where I'm going to leave that at. It's the same with football. There's lots of people out there who are broke right now who need to be paid because of their contributions to this sport. And he's one of those people. He is a pioneer in the sport of professional wrestling, and he needs to be given the same type of respect that you would give someone else if you found out that they were hurt, sick, or injured. He needs to get that.
100%. Especially, in his family member who was also dealing with that, like his wife being, sick as well. Like you said, not having health insurance and helping out his son and a lot of different things we're not going to get into. I'm not going to put all the business out there.
Yeah, we don't
But
need to put all this personal business out there. He put enough out there. I didn't expect for him to say all that stuff on camera.
yeah,
So I'm really happy that he did give some context. But he didn't need to do that, and he did that because whether you guys know it or not, he loves you, fans. He loves you.
period. And that's how we're going to close out this episode. Once again, y'all, DDOG Podcast. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, X. Follow Cortez Branch Jr. at Soul Reaper 24 on IG or on his YouTube channel, Soul Reaper 24. We've seen you. Appreciate you also, kind of throwing the pod. Of the 16 countries we have our listeners, thank you. The 65,000 listeners on YouTube and Spotify, thank you. Keep listening, keep subscribing, keep, help us, keep growing our footprint, and we will be back.
Yeah, we're just trying to reach you guys. You know, me rebranding that channel was because I believe in our show. I believe in what we do. We have the most honest takes on wrestling. We're not marks out here. We're actual fans. We have other interests. We have other hobbies. With this, we don't just live and breathe wrestling all day long.
We do,
Even though
though.
we live and breathe wrestling all day long.
I mean, sorry,
You know,
it's all there.
it's everywhere. It's all over my room. It's all over
Exactly.
yours and my office and yours. So I mean, I just got to say I wanted to have a wider ranging footprint of what we're doing, and I think with time, our channel's continuing to grow, and I think that people like an honest take from people like us that they can relate to in a lot of ways. Yes, we're professionals. Yes, we're regular guys, and that's what we want to. That's what we want to keep it. So,
Yes, sir. Thank you once again. We will be back soon, hopefully with our boy in question. But if not, we'll be back either way. Thank you all for subscribing. Hope everyone had a great March. April is right around the corner, and we will be back, obviously, talking about the draft and WrestleMania. Thank you all once again. God bless. Peace.
peace.